The heyday of the muscle car era started in the 1960s and lasted up until the early 1970s. But by the mid-70s, the party was over thanks to government regulations and emission standards. Flash forward to the current decade, and we're seeing history repeat itself. But this time, the regulations aren't just killing the V8-powered performance platforms like this animal here, but by the end of the decade, it'll be almost impossible for manufacturers to build performance vehicles or any vehicle with an internal combustion engine.
We will always have our muscle projects in the garage, but as far as the new stuff goes, like it or not, the age of electrification is upon us. Now, Ford and GM have existing electric vehicles in their fleet that keep their averages low, so they have the luxury of making a slower transition from internal combustion engines to hybrid and then eventually to full electric vehicles. Dodge, on the other hand, has a fleet that's heavy on Hemi-powered muscle cars and full-size trucks. They've been in violation of the government regulations since back till 2016, and because of it, they've been paying hundreds of millions of dollars in fines. For that reason, they've been forced to move more quickly. So just a week or so ago at Dodge Speed Week, Tim Kuniskis unveiled their vision of e-muscle, the Dodge Charger Daytona Banshee.
The presentation was light on details, and it left us gearheads wanting to know more. So this guy right here used his particular set of skills.
Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
He took those skills and he used them for evil.
Dr. Evil. I didn't spend 6 years in evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much.
I know you well enough to know that you've got more than just speculation and rumors from the interwebs. So what are we working with here?
All right.
State your case, my friend.
So after the reveal, I spent an unreasonable amount of time going through everything that Stellantis and Dodge has said publicly, to their shareholders and everything about their transition to EVs. And while Dodge played coy with the specs on their reveal the other day, there's a lot of information floating around out there, and you just really need to connect the dots.
Gentlemen, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
At every point during that reveal, I was waiting for the guy to say, it's got this, it's got this. And every time he said, we're not going to talk about that right now.
Yeah, you probably want to know about the port. Anyway.
Yeah, you really want to know this? Yes, I do. Tell me.
Right.
So what do you have?
Okay, so Stellantis is the parent company of Dodge and 13 other automotive manufacturers around the globe. And they're basically assembling a common parts bin of interchangeable parts that all of these companies can basically pull from to assemble whatever electric vehicle they need, be it something like a tiny Fiat 500 type vehicle all the way up to, a Ram full-size truck. Obviously, they're doing this so that they can reduce costs for everyone. So last year, Stellantis held an EV day to discuss all of this and put all that information out for their shareholders and all of the industry stakeholders, or their suppliers basically. And it was hours long and super boring, and it wasn't really meant for public consumption. So most people never paid any attention to it, but I did it for you.
This is 4 hours?
It was close to 4 hours long.
Okay, I'm thinking you need a part-time job.
Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly walk you through the relevant details and then kind of summarize everything as to what we should expect to see on the e-muscle from Dodge.
All right, man, lay it out.
All right, so first we're going to start by looking at the platforms that they have. And during the EV presentation, Stellantis Chief Engineering Officer Harold Wester, he explained there are 4 platforms. One is for full-size trucks and off-road vehicles, and then there are 3 that are for cars. So they're all designated STLA or Stella and then something. And as you can see in the graphic that they used on this slide, we're concerned with Stella Large. They made that abundantly clear by using a photo of the current Dodge Challenger and by labeling it all-wheel drive performance and American muscle. Guess what? Stellantis only has one American muscle brand, Dodge. Yeah. Stella Large will accommodate 2 different battery chemistries, and this will give them a wider range of affordability and performance specs and everything. The lower end one is a 101 kilowatt, 400 volt battery, which is for the lower trim levels, and then a 118 kilowatt hour or 800 volt battery pack for the higher end. The larger of those 2, the 800 volt, is rated for 500 miles of range. However,
is this the slipperiest car in the world? Nope. And that's okay, we don't care. We're willing to give up some range to look badass.
So we can expect the higher end Charger Daytonas fitted with the 800 volt pack to be rated a little bit lower on range.
I'll tell you, I think anything over 300 is a very reasonable electric car. Most people aren't driving their car 300 miles. That range is fantastic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, along with that, Stellantis has developed several interchangeable electric drive modules. Stella Large-based cars equipped with a 400-volt battery pack can use the EDM2, which is a rear-wheel drive 124 to 180 kilowatt motor. There's also a more powerful EDM3 that can be used in all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive configurations with both the 400 and the 800-volt battery packs. Now, armed with that information, we can kind of start putting together a more clear picture of what's possible. Now, it's important to remember, Charger Daytona is the car. Banshee, which they showed off, is the the top tier trim package, basically the EV version of Hellcat.
Right, V6 versus V8 today.
Right. So below the Banshee, you're probably just going to have the entry Charger Daytona equipped with a 400-volt pack and probably the EDM2 rear-wheel drive motor, like the basic V6 Charger and Challenger now.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. At the middle tier, there's a lot of stuff you can start playing with there. Now, the middle tier is going to be getting into your basic Hemi car, your basic Hemi muscle cars. So you're going to be getting into the, the 392s and the packages like that. I expect to see the rear-wheel drive EDM3 configuration rated at 442 horsepower and perhaps even a dual motor all-wheel drive EDM3 rated at 884 horsepower, which is putting you close to where the Hellcat is now.
So with this EDM3, you think we're going to be somewhere around where a Hellcat's sitting right now, or maybe even slightly more at over 800 horsepower?
Right, yeah.
Okay, well, if there's something beyond that, Banshee, I mean, that's going to be insane. What did you figure out?
With the Banshee, I think we have something that gives us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. Maserati is another one of Stellantis' brands, and they're a little bit ahead of Dodge on this. They actually just unveiled the Maserati Gran Turismo Folgore, which I probably just butchered.
I don't understand.
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 What? I don't understand.
I don't understand.
I don't understand. Are you mocking my voice right now?
Folgore. But it comes with 3 electric motors producing what they're saying is over 1,200 horsepower. We'll have a 0 to 60 time of under 3 seconds and a top speed exceeding 186 miles per hour.
Those aren't bad specs.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So based on the parts bin of what's available for the Banshee and all of the public claims and criteria that they've put out about it, it appears that the all-wheel drive Banshee is going to utilize a tri-motor EDM3 setup, which will be rated as high as 1,320 horsepower, which conveniently is the exact number of feet and a quarter mile. So I can't imagine Dodge would be able to resist themselves.
That's right in their wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This would make a car that was capable of a 2-point-something second 0 to 60 and 9-second passes at the drag strip. And interestingly enough, there was a little bit of an Easter egg in the reveal presentation concerning that.
We didn't ask for the rules to change. We didn't want them to change, but they did. And we can try to outrun them, but that would be a 9-second pass straight into extinction.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
So you spent how many hours doing this? I don't know. Like you said, far too many. Yeah. What's your level of, I'm certain that these are the specs?
So we know what parts they have to use, and they've showed us what configurations they can be used in. So really all we're doing is coming to the logical conclusion.
It makes sense if you have all these parts from all these different brands that you can pool together and keep your manufacturing costs down, build another vehicle, and end up with something that might be like the most insane electric vehicle we've seen to date.
Oh, easily. This would gap a Tesla Model S Plaid, and that's absolutely
You don't see that happen very often.
No, I don't know that I've ever seen it happen. Now check out Project Electrolyte. This is Kevin Erickson's Tesla swapped Plymouth Satellite.